Hi guys, it's Adam from Rally Raid, and today I'm going to show you what I've done to prepare for my T.E.T trip in Spain this weekend. I'm going for 10 days on the BMW G310 GS fitted up with our level 2 suspension kit and a host of other accessories as well. So I just thought I'd take a minute to show you what I'm taking with me, what I'm not taking with me, and sort of the setup that we're running for this. Everyone's different, everyone packs lots of different things. If you guys have got any ideas about what you'd leave behind or what you'd add in extra, just drop them in the comment below. But I'm going to just double check all my stuff, so I thought I'd film it, lay it all out and show you what's inside the bike. For this trip I used the Giant Loop Coyote. It's a 37 litre roll top bag, and this is sort of my go-to bag for anything like this if I'm carrying more stuff. So this time I'm making a video, so I need a lot of camera kit. I'm also going to be using the Giant Loop tank bag for this as well, and it's one of my favourites. Been using this for a long time, and to get to the fuel cap it just zips off nice and easy, which is handy when you're filling up as well. So we'll unpack everything, make sure I've packed everything right, and go through some of the items that I brought with me. So here's everything that I'll be taking with me. This is 99% of what's going on myself or the bike. There's just two things that are missing. One of those is my Adventure Spec linesman jacket, and the other one is my riding boots, and they're both drying out in the sun at the moment. So I thought I'd take you through some of the stuff I'm taking. If you've got any ideas about what you would take on top of this, or maybe something you wouldn't take that I've packed, just drop a comment below. It'd be really interesting to see what other people are taking. So we'll start with riding kit, I guess. That's going on me, so it doesn't really count as luggage, but it's all part of it. I've got the Bell MX-9 Adventure helmet and the Scott goggles. These fit really well because of these external brackets here to hold the elastic. You can actually use them under the visor. I've really enjoyed this sort of setup for a while now. It's super easy just to switch between. When you get on the road, just slip the visor down, and then when you're on the trail, just pull it up and you've got your goggles there as well. In terms of riding kit, I'm wearing the Adventure Spec linesman. For my waterproof, I've got this new single track jacket in the dark grey. I've had the light grey one a couple of years ago. It lasted a very long time. I'm super happy with that, so we've gone with that one again. We've got the Adventure Spec Mongolia trousers. These do come with knee pads, but I'm going to be wearing these Alpine Stars Bionic ones. I find them to be fairly comfy. They're cheap. They're not so hard that they're not uncomfortable for adventure riding, because normally I wouldn't wear knee pads for adventure riding, but you know, I'm getting old, to be honest, and I've got to make sure I'm back to work in a week. For gloves, I've got 3 sets of gloves. I've got some cheap RST ones, and these are purely road gloves really for getting down to the ferry when it's absolutely pouring it down, or we're in snow because we're going up into the mountains. For general riding in the colder weathers, we've got these Adventure Spec windproof trail gloves. These are new, they've got a slightly higher cuff than the previous dirt gloves, and they're a bit thicker, and obviously they're windproof, so I'm looking forward to using these. I've got one more set of gloves just here, and this is my trials gloves. These are just some really thin. They have no protection at all, but I just packed them in my rucksack, so if you ever get really wet and you're just desperate for some dry gloves, I mean, the size that they take up, it's really worth just putting those in. And that's about it. I'm just wearing some Alpine Stars Adventure boots. They're drying out, like I said, so they're not here. And that's it for riding kit really. In terms of clothes off the bike, this is my clothes for the 10 days. So I've got some Under Armour long sleeve tops in there, 2 of those, some boxers, 5 pairs of socks, antibacterial socks just to keep yourself fresh on the trail. I've got a pair of sort of sleeping jogging bottom leggings things, so when you're off the bike you can just keep yourself warm, and if you need to dry your kit out you don't have to wear it 24/7. But that's about as much as I'd want to take. Last time I did this I took too much clothes, and it was really frustrating because it's one of the most bulkiest things to pack. I mean, my clothes take up more than my actual sleeping equipment, which is not ideal. Talking about sleeping equipment, this is the MSR Hubba NX series. This tent's a couple of years old now, and it's probably the best tent I've used, to be honest. It packs up so small, it's so light, and it's a really good system. So it's like a 1.5 man tent with a canopy, and it's enough space you can get your boots and your helmet and everything under the canopy, and bring pretty much everything you have with you inside the tent and be able to sleep in there comfortably as well. And it packs up so small, it's like 2 kilos when it's all packed. And this is kind of waterproof, but I keep it in a dry bag anyway, just because it's so annoying If the tent's got wet already, I won't keep it in a dry bag because you need it to dry out, so you need to get some air through it. And inside the tent, I'm going to be using a 4-class air mat. I was using a couple of sort of more high-end air mats before, but they were just so bulky, to be honest, and like that's the size of my hand, fits inside a teacup. Can't complain really. So in terms of space versus reward, it might not be as good as the ones I've been using before, but it's saving it's 1/3, if not less, than the space of the ones I was using before, so that saved me some space and some weight. Just a light sleeping bag. This one's sort of 10-degree comfort level, 5-degree minimum. It's probably a little bit light for what we're doing when we go up into the mountains in northern Spain. I hear there's still some snow there and it's going to be pretty cold, but I'll just have to wrap up, and I've got some thermals as well, so I'll manage. Shoes off the bike, you don't want to be wearing your boots all the time, they'll wreck your feet and it's just not nice when they're wet. Just go to Primark or something, get yourself some. These were £4, and they're just so cheap and so poorly made, it means you can crush them, and it takes up a couple of inches. Not a lot of real estate there, but it's worth having a pair of dry shoes at the end of the day. And when you're out with your friends, you might end up going to a restaurant or a bar or something like that, so it's just worth having a pair of shoes so you're not tramping around in your boots all day, and give your feet a rest really. Microfiber towel, small as you can. If you think you can get away with a smaller one, this is like a 2 foot by 2 foot sort of square one, and that packs up really nice and small. It's got some air vents and they generally dry out really quick as well. This is my food. Don't take food for the whole trip, there's no point. You're going to fill your bag up with loads of food that you don't really need that much. Pick food up on the way, enjoy the food wherever you're riding, enjoy the local culture and cuisine and stuff like that. This is really just a couple of emergency meals if we do hit a night when we haven't got anything around us, or you just want a quick meal, you feel shit and it's cold. So 2 tins of mackerel fillets, they're indestructible, they have to be refrigerated. 2 packets of dehydrated meals, so it's just chicken curry and bolognese. A jerky, I just leave that in my tank bag to eat throughout the day when I'm hungry, and some breakfast bars in there as well. Toiletries I've got in here. Again, pretty small pack. Some people would say that it's too much, but I've had some pretty rough trips when I haven't brought enough stuff like that, and you just feel dirty and horrible the whole time. So in there it's just sort of toothpaste, toothbrush, all that sort of stuff. A really small travel washing thing, and a couple of painkillers, anything you might need, and a couple of medical things in there as well. In terms of tools, this is all I'm taking for my tools. This is a reused Dremel case. I used to use a tool roll, have a really nice Krieger tool roll that I've used for a long time, but I found when they get wet, they get really heavy, and sometimes you just can't fit bulky things in them that well, like things like tire gauges, they just don't suit a tool roll. So what I've done this time is I've gone to this Dremel case, and it packs pretty nice in my bag. It's a lot quieter and it feels lighter than my tool roll as well when I had that. So in there we've got some steel cable ties. These are super strong, just in case you need to hold anything onto the bike if it damages itself. Some super glue, whether it be for injuries or repairing some of your luggage or anything like that. Some spare nuts and bolts for the bike, so I've got a selection here that I know I need for all the different parts on the bike. Obviously that's going to differ from every bike, and just don't take too much because they are kind of heavy, but even if it doesn't save you, these could save someone else. We've got a tubeless tyre repair kit in this one, a valve tool, and a little bit of hacksaw blade as well, because you never know when you'll need that. It doesn't take any space up, so you might as well put that in. A poncho for, you're trying to work on your bike, you get your toolkit out, it starts raining loads, just throw this on, don't bother putting your waterproofs on, just throw that on, it's disposable, you get grease all over it. We've got some spare battery bolts, because battery bolts, they do vibrate loose every now and again, and some spare cabling for the 12 volt stuff. A selection of spare mini blade fuses. This is just little toolboxes. I've got mini and normal blade fuses just in case anyone else's bike has any issues. Some Loctite. It's pretty large in terms of real estate, but it's worth taking. I can't find anything smaller in terms of Loctite to take than this, so if you know any solutions, drop them in the comments. Some pliers. You could take mole grips, a pair of mole grips or something like that, or some needle nose ones. This is just some out of a KTM toolkit. Sharp knife, spring puller, a decent set of Allen keys, multi screwdriver, a bit of tape, one of the Motion Pro socket sets, one of the mini socket sets, and they're tiny, and a good decent pair of cutters as well, so the sharpest ones you can find, but obviously not too big for wiring or cable ties or anything like that. It's just really useful to have. And this one is the power bank. So this isn't a power bank for my devices, I've got a couple of those already. This is sort of an emergency jump start power bank. It's a high quality one. You can jump start big vehicles off this as well, it's pretty impressive. There's a couple of people doing this as Sakura one. I know Duracell do one as well that you can sort of jump start a van off, but this is just worst case scenario. Get this out, get the bike jump started, even if it's not your bike, just useful to have, to be honest. And that's it for tools. And then the last few things we've got, camera. We're going to be making videos, so I've got a couple of cameras and GoPros and stuff. So all that electrical stuff does actually take up quite a lot of space, you'd be surprised. We've got a spare number plate because you never know if you'll snap yours. This is a small number plate, and it's really just, you know, worst case scenario, throw this on the back of the bike if you snap your legal one, and I'm sure they'll be more forgiving than ride around with no number plate in Europe. Some spare fuel hose, if you need to borrow some fuel from someone, or someone needs to borrow some fuel from you, etc. Just enough to be able to siphon it out of the tank and get it into their bike or a container. Wrote down?
No, just got a fuel line.
Ah, right. Have you got any fuel line on you?
No, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the shortest. Bring fuel.
Yeah, see if that'll fit. I think it's a bigger gauge though.
Yeah.
And an emergency water bladder as well. I generally don't use a Camelback when I'm riding adventure stuff. The Camelback can take up a lot of space. You sit with it in your backpack all day and don't really drink it in my case. So this just folds up, and when you need to take some water to camp or anything like that, you know, again, this takes up absolutely nothing, so it's definitely worth bringing. And then we've just got an R15, so this has got my GoPro accessories, power banks, sort of just general camera stuff, set of gloves, maybe a bottle of water or something like that in, and then a Krieger stash wallet, and that just keeps all your stuff safe, euros, whatever. I've got it on my backpack for now until we get down to the ferry, and then once we get on the trails I'll put it somewhere more secure, just so it doesn't get caught and I don't lose my money in my passport. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. Like I say, if you've got any ideas on what you wouldn't take out of this stuff, or what you'd add in for a bit more comfort or for your needs, just drop a comment below and let me know. So the first thing to go in is going to be the heavy stuff, really, or the stuff that you don't need to get to that often. So this is the dry bag for my clothes. This is one of the giant loop dry bags, or the dry pods, sorry. And you just do these up like a normal dry bag, and they have these vents on them here. So you pretty much just crush down, it's like a vacuum pack. Just open it up, crush everything down and do it back up. And then you can be sure that you haven't really wasted any space, so it's almost vacuum packed itself. So that'll be going in one side. Next up, we're going to have tools and power banks, because hopefully I shouldn't need to get to them too often. So next is the toolkit. Like I said, I'm not going to be taking my tyre gauge or the headlamp in the toolkit itself, just because I'm going to need access to those. Hopefully I'm not going to need access to the tools throughout the whole trip. I'll never have to touch the bikes or anyone else's bike. We're not going to have any mechanicals whatsoever, says everyone before they go away. The tent, the sleeping bag and the roll mat is all going to go in this Continental dry bag that Continental kindly supplied with this brand new set of T.E.Ts. They're a great tyre. So in here is going to go the tent, sleeping bag, roll mat and cup. So again, just roll it over, do it up, and we'll put that on last. I've got my road gloves. I'm not going to need those that often, maybe two, 3 times during the trip, so it's not a deal breaker. I'll just throw my food supplies in. So these items are going to be tucked away in my rucksack, which I'm currently wearing now to hold the GoPro, so I can't show you that. So I'll put my straps back on. Only have to do this once, just when you're packing the first time. I'm going to roll the top of the giant loop down, clip it up. And it's one of the benefits of these giant loops roll bags is just shove it all in, roll it up. I'm not a particularly organised person, so it works perfectly for me. And then this front strap comes over the bag to compress it down and also hold any rear bags. So even if I had sort of another bag that I needed to put in there for some reason, I can adjust all this, and it gives me sort of a modular packing system. I'll keep my phone, my electricals, GoPro. If I know I'm going to be using the camera a lot, if we're at a certain trail or something like that, I'll keep it in the tank bag, so this just zips on. So like I said earlier, you can just unzip it when you get to a fuel station, fill up, nice and easy. So I think the G310 GS is a perfect platform for this sort of riding. You know, it suits me perfectly in terms of its weight. It's a really fun platform. Just the engine is an absolute little ripper. I have so much fun when we're doing this sort of stuff, and it's great to be able to ride a bike that you can still have a laugh on, be expressive. You know, if you want to have a couple of trails where you just want to hit them hard, you're not on such a big bike where you feel like you're at risk by doing that. And it fits all my luggage on. You can see it doesn't look massively overloaded. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to take this for a little shakedown ride now and just get the last of my devices charged up, and then we'll be ready to go. So thanks for watching, guys. Drop a comment if you have any input, anything that you disagree with, agree with, you like or you don't like, and let me know if you're going on a trip, what you're taking, where you're going, and what you won't be packing that I've packed probably.